Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
For well over a century, there's baseball that's been played in the city of Pittsburgh. And through those years, great players have been immortalized at PNC Park. The Flying Dutchman, Honus Wagner, winner of 8 batting titles, tied for most in the National League. Hall of Famer Bill Mazeroski, 7-time All-Star, forever remembered for his home run in Game 7 of the 1960 World Series. Roberto Clemente, a 15-time All-Star, 12-time Gold Glover, and 4-time batting champion. Willie Stargell, Pops, the leader of the 1979 World Champion We Are Family Pirates. In 2014, Pittsburgh trying to make more history. They'll face the Cardinals next on Fox Sports Midwest. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. A beautiful afternoon from PNC Park in Pittsburgh, where the Pirates are 3.5 games back in the wild card of the St. Louis Cardinals. The rubber game, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. The lefty Jeff Locke will go today for the Pirates, and the Cardinals will counter with their ace. That's Adam Wainwright.
We've had 2 fun games in this series already. A lot of close games, a lot of close moments, managerial decisions that have impacted the game. Adam Wainwright, the guy you want in the final game of a series. He's not been as good as he's been in the past over the last month or so, but expect Adam Wainwright to make some adjustments.
Adam Wainwright is looking again for win number 16 here today. Big crowd expected, perfect weather, Cards, Pirates. It comes your way next. Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Here's to Budweiser, here's to baseball. Come in and visit Mid-American Chevy dealers and make your move to Chevrolet today. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. The Allegheny, Monongahela, and the Ohio. They all come together. The Ohio runs into the Mississippi. Hence, Three Rivers. The playoff picture in the National League. Washington is running away with the East, 7.5 games up. The Cardinals just behind Milwaukee, who lost last night, game and a half back. Pittsburgh, you see them behind St. Louis. We talked about their position in the wild card. Out west, it's Los Angeles, 5 in front of San Francisco, and the wild card should be fun down the stretch.
Yeah, 5-team race at this point, but you could also add in Cincinnati, just a couple of games behind Miami. But Pittsburgh, obviously, right in the thick of things.
So the Cardinals are trying to win this series, head back home, off day tomorrow. And then you have Chicago in town for the first of 4. Remember, doubleheader on Saturday, and good seats still remaining for all 4 games. The lineup for St. Louis, different look here in game number 3. Matt Carpenter, Randall Grichuk, big hit off the bench yesterday. Matt Holliday against Locke, good numbers. Then it's Matt Adams, Johnny Peralta, John Jay. Tony Cruz is your catcher this afternoon. Daniel Descalso at second base. Adam Wainwright is on the mound. Some more right-handed hitters in this lineup to face the lefty, and that's Jeff Locke.
3 starts a year ago against the Cardinals. In fact, he hooked up with Adam Wainwright in a September start. The Cardinals beat him that particular night 5-0. Wainwright actually had a couple of hits against Locke. Not an overpowering left-hander. He's basically a sinker, curveball, changeup pitcher. And he's also a Randy Flores lookalike.
I think you're right. I think you're right. There's Rick, always dressed in a uniform from years gone by at the Pittsburgh Pirates. You have to get your Cracker Jacks, and yes, that's the other Rick, not the Rick next to me.
You notice Rick still has his command. I mean,
really does.
Right on the hands.
Yeah.
The fan didn't have to move to his left or to his right.
It's been so good for so many years. We had a nice conversation with him today, didn't we?
We absolutely did.
Matt Carpenter will lead things off for the Cardinals. 6th in the National League in runs scored with 82. That's tops on the club. He's hitless in this series. 2 hard hit balls last night. One of them to the second baseman Walker to start the game. And then in the 3rd, up against the wall, a play made by Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen had to leave the game, but he's in there today. However, the news not good with Pedro Alvarez.
Alvarez having a left foot sprain, and he did it diving for a ball to his left. Actually, the first hit the Cardinals had. Colton Wong drove one past Alvarez, and he hurt his foot, and he is out. And that's bad news for the Pirates.
Well, Jeff Locke has won 3 straight decisions overall. As a matter of fact, he's won 3 in a row here at home. He's allowed just 2 runs in his last 11 2/3. So he's trying to get the form that he was at a year ago, which he was an all-star. And the pitch is popped up on the infield. Neil Walker is there. Puts it away for out number 1. So defensively, different looking defense for Clint Riddle's club today. And that's Starling Marte in left, McCutchen in center, Snyder is in right, Harrison at 3rd. Mercer gets the start here in game 3 at short. Neil Walker, their everyday second baseman. Ike Davis, the big 3-run homer in game 2. And then Russell Martin behind the plate. So there's a look at Davis, who's been really good off the bench for the Pirates this year. Lined out to right field. Going back is Snyder over his head. Boy, the ball just jumps off the bat of Randall Grichuk. 1-out double. Seemed to surprise Snyder a little bit in right.
So many players work deep counts now. I think there's times where fielders are surprised when a guy swings at the first pitch and he lines it, and the surprising power on top of that of Randall Grichuk that you mentioned. Nice easy swing, showing why he had 25 home runs in AAA this season.
So here is Holliday, who's in the top 10 with runners in scoring position. The bat speed, the hit speed, 98.3 miles per hour. Cardinals really noticed that about Grichuk in spring training. Coaches were raving about that. The question is whether or not he can cut down on his strikeouts, and with more playing time, getting accustomed to playing at this level, you would assume that it would.
We talked with Jim Hayes yesterday about trying to be more at ease. His third time in the big leagues, and just kind of controlling nerves a bit and not kind of getting overly excited about the fact that you're in the big leagues and trying to do too much.
And a pitch that catches the inside corner, evens it up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
That, of course, is a very natural issue that young players deal with. Locke, by the way, may look like Randy Flores, but when I look at his delivery and the way he pitches, he reminds me of Ted Lilly. Almost exactly the same mechanics as Lilly had.
A look at Grichuk at second, and Holiday chops it up the third base line and foul. Ted Lilly was a very good starter for a long time, not a hard thrower. Locke does throw a little bit harder than Lilly, but still the mechanics and the mannerisms very similar.
And he really relies on his command. He actually got sent to AAA, had to make 10 starts down there, and if he's not good with his command, he's, I would say, hittable. He's not, again, got the overpowering stuff. Maybe he throws a little harder than Lilly, but I don't think he has Lilly's curveball quite to the same degree as Lilly, but does have a very good changeup, which he's going to throw about a quarter of the time.
And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Holiday, who doubled in game 1, drove in 2 in the first inning. And again, that's chopped foul. Cardinals are hoping to get Yadier Molina, Michael Wacha, Jason Mott, all back for the run in September, including today. Just 31 games remaining on the schedule.
Makes you wonder who's going to have a good September, and you hope somebody or many players have a good October. But you can look back, Dan, at a lot of players that had kind of average years but really made their season and maybe even made their mark in Cardinal history by what they did in September and October.
On the inside corner, the strikeout of Holiday. No argument. Couldn't pull the trigger. First strikeout for the lefty Locke.
You'd thrown him a couple of curveballs, and this is a fastball that comes back over the inside corner. Had a little sink to it. Not much of a four-seam guy. Again, doesn't throw hard enough to do that. Everything sinks a little. And it worked to his advantage there as it came back over the inside corner.
Matt Adams, currently 5th in the National League batting race, an average of .303. Leading that list, Justin Morneau. He's at .317, first baseman of the Rockies, who broke up the perfect game last night. Madison Bumgarner late last night, if you missed it, in San Francisco on a breaking ball that he yanked down the right field line and turned that into a double. Bumgarner now tied with 4 others with 15 wins in the National League. That includes today's starter, Adam Wainwright. That's pulled just foul. Very nice play made by the ball girl. Good form.
Outstanding. Notice that, good form, 2 hands.
I mean, how about that? Even alligatored it.
Yeah, and then she was getting ready to throw. Could you tell that? She was kind of coming up out of her crouch, ready to kind of make a little flip. Double play. Outstanding.
1 ball and 1 strike on Matt Adams. Outfield is deep. I think you'd have to say, Rick, that this game, there's more pressure on the Pirates. Again, there's a full month left in the regular season. However, last night we felt extremely important for Pittsburgh, and because of their position in the standings, more pressure today on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think a big win for them last night, especially, and maybe that gives them a little more breathing room today. But when you're the team chasing, when you realize there's just 31 games left, you start to feel that pressure a little bit, and you realize each pitcher is only going to have 5 or 6 starts. You're getting towards the end. You can't kind of say, well, we're trying to figure it out. There's no longer this well, it's a long season conversation. It turns from a marathon to a sprint in your mind, and I think when you're sprinting, you start to feel that stress and strain if you're the one trailing.
2-2 is hit out of play, and here we are very early back at it again for game number 3. And you have Russell Martin, their top catcher. You know, this is the first 3 months of the regular season. He's probably not playing today. Andrew McCutchen probably not playing today, but they understand the importance of a game like this afternoon. The 2-2. Good at bat here by Adams. There were times, especially a season ago, Matt Adams would not be playing today against the left-hander Locke, but that has changed.
I think he has good at-bats against lefties. Still hitting better against right-handers. Also, in my mind, his power kind of comes and goes. I mean, there's times where he's going to just get into a streak, and he needs to be in there. He's one of the top hitters in the National League right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at his .303 average, and the 10th batter in the league right now is Goldschmidt, and he's hitting just .300. That shows you how few players are hitting over .300 this year. And Goldschmidt, of course, is hurt. But I think John Jay still has an outside shot at winning the batting title.
We talked about it last week. He'd basically have to play every day from here on out to qualify,
or be high enough above the next guy that, because what they'll do is they'll just consider it outs for the number of at-bats he's shy, and you can still win the batting title and not have enough qualifying at-bats.
Do you have a theory as to why this is again the year of the pitcher and offense is down so much? I mean, it is down dramatically across Major League Baseball.
Well, so many guys throwing harder, and I think that's a piece of it. And I think scouts and teams are developing pitchers that just have wipeout stuff. I think that's part of it. But I think maybe the shifts are adding to it a bit. You're taking away a little bit from hitters, and I think hitters, in some ways, focusing so much on being kind of almost defensive and almost kind of on base percentage focused, maybe not aggressive enough with the bat. You don't see a lot of hit and runs. The running game's controlled, so you don't see open lanes the same way. It's just kind of a lot of station to station baseball.
Here's the 0-1. 0-2, and Adams is out. Where's he going? Now they say he's safe. Initially ruled out by the crew chief Brian Gorman, and I'm not sure if Davis dropped the baseball. I'm assuming that's what happened.
He did. He dropped the baseball. Should be an error on Davis, because a perfect throw by Russell Martin. You know, he's a little bit like Yadier Molina. He likes to throw. The throw's right there. There's the tag. You call him out, but there's this rule that you have to have the ball inside your glove.
Where's he going?
It's an old rule. That's a good question. Just wasn't really thinking that might happen. I bet he's thinking it now.
Here's the 0-2. The strikeout of Peralta on an off-speed pitch. 2 strikeouts for Jeff Locke. Wainwright to the mound when we come back. Up in 2001, gorgeous facility for baseball. As Josh Harrison will lead it off, followed by Travis Snyder, then Andrew McCutchen, who's hit .342 against Adam Wainwright. Walker, Martin, Davis, Marte, Mercer, and Locke against the Cardinals ace.
And he got him. Caught him looking. Got him with the breaking ball again.
He finishes what he started. Archaea starter Adam Wainwright, who struggled in game 1 of this road trip. Harrison looks at a cutter away. A look at his numbers this year.
I think Mike Matheny talking about Adam Wainwright in our pregame show was right on time. It's not an issue of Adam Wainwright's been terrible, but we just expect more from him, and he expects more from himself. Last 3 outings, he's given up a total of 12 runs, and you know, if he's your number 2, number 3 starter, you're happy with that. But you know, he's still very good, but he can be better, and I think that's the adjustment he's looking for, and the command of his fastball is really where it starts.
We've noticed he has worked slower in the past month. Now, that's a byproduct of having runners on, but also he's trying to figure things out on the fly.
Yeah, and he's looking a little quicker in his delivery in the first 4 pitches. And I noticed the really very first pitch he threw, it's not just between pitches. I'm talking about his delivery has got a little bit more pace to it. Like, here it comes, I'm ready, and boom.
And a strikeout to start the afternoon for Adam Wainwright. The Cardinals defensively, Matt Holliday is in left, John Jay in center, Randall Grichuk, good arm, good range in right. Matt Carpenter at third, Peralta at short, Descalso and Adams on the right side of the infield. Tony Cruz gets his second start in this Pirate series. And it brings in Travis Snyder, who is 1 for his last 19. Outfield is straight away. Same location. This time it's called a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Always find it interesting, the combination. Pitcher and catcher, that relationship. And when a pitcher shakes off a catcher, it's the catcher, Rick, and you can dive into this a little bit more, but putting down a suggestion for the pitcher.
Yeah, it really is the pitcher's game, not the catcher's game. And Mike Matheny also talking about this in regard to Wainwright and having an absent Yadier Molina. A good start for Adams. He believes that it would be a disservice to Adam Wainwright to say it makes a difference that Yadi's not behind the plate, because basically you're saying that Adam can't be good without Yadier Molina, and he doesn't believe that's true. So, you know, even the Cardinal manager making that statement, and that includes the way a game is called. The pitcher calls the game, not the catcher. The catcher suggests, the pitcher, it would be helpful if the suggestion goes along with what the pitcher wants to throw, but the pitcher can never blame the catcher for throwing the wrong pitch.
2 outs, both recorded with a strikeout, and here's the reigning MVP, McCutchen. It's a fly ball into right. Grichuk is over, runs out of room. Andrew McCutchen the other night with a home run off of Trevor Rosenthal to give him 20 this season and 60 here at PNC Park. The all-time leader, Jason Bay, was 61. Pedro Alvarez is 4th with 48. 3 behind Garrett Jones, who's now playing in Miami. Wainwright, first inning, looking like vintage Adam Wainwright.
Great start.
see you. We say hello to Jim Hayes. And Jim, you had Lance Lynn on your pregame show. What did Lynn have to say about last night?
Well, you know, he's been as consistent as anyone, especially over his last 10 games, Dan. 6-2 record over his last 10, 1.85 ERA, 9 quality starts. August has been historically his worst month. He told me today the wear and tear would catch up with him. He says this year he feels fresher and stronger because he's expended less energy. He says part of that is thanks to his streamlining his delivery. He says the other part is being more mentally under control and doing a better job with damage control, again, expending less energy. Dan, Lynn has been really good before, but now he's been really consistently good.
He's been the Cardinals' best pitcher for the last month, best starter. How about today, Justin Masterson, as we get a look at John Jay, leading things off here in the second. What is Justin doing in his bullpen sessions to get ready for this weekend?
Well, he had Mike Matheny watching him today. Mike doesn't always watch the bullpen sessions. Today he did it, he says, because he just wanted to get another set of eyes on Justin to see if he could pick up on some little things. Mike says sometimes the littlest thing can make a big difference. Matheny said of Masterson, quote, "It's in there, we've seen it, but we're not seeing it right now." Mike thinks Masterson is close. He'll get another start on Saturday. Guys trying to show what Mike has seen in him before.
What's the timetable? And I think it figures into Justin Masterson, but what's the timetable on Michael Wacha and his return?
Well, today Wacha will throw a live bullpen, and I know that before everyone gets too excited about that, they want to assess Wacha after he throws to hitters. It's a slow process, obviously. With a guy as talented as Wacha, they want to be careful. So he'll throw to live hitters today for the first time, and then they'll assess him tomorrow, and I'm told they'll figure out the next step from there, Dan.
The Cardinals, it's not, let's say, do or die for Justin Masterson, but if he does not have a good start, has there been talk about maybe going in a different direction in the rotation, Jim?
For now, no. I asked specifically before they announced that he would get another start, and they told me that he's in the starting rotation. No timetable for any changes, but obviously Saturday is a big start.
All right, Jim, good stuff as always. Here's Tony Cruz.
A big start and also a big bullpen that he threw today, because from the point of view of the player, you're throwing a bullpen in between starts. It's typically kind of unnoticed, not talked about much, but your manager comes out and watches you do it.
That's a bigger deal.
That's a bigger deal. It's a more important bullpen for you, and the fact that everything went well with it, I think that's a good sign. But you know, obviously he's kind of on the bubble right now and needs to get it done on Saturday. And you know, you've seen the great sink from Masterson, but the command has been off. And for a sinker ball pitcher not to have command, it just can be a long day.
It's not the worst thing with a player that struggles at the plate to put a hit and run on just to try to get something going, force them to swing. I'll ask you, though, what about the move of Jeff Lott? We've seen at times it's pretty good.
Well, he's got John Jay a little bit confused right now. He came back to the base at least once, and you know, left-handers can be tricky, and they have to kind of augment that with the slide step that he used there. And with Tony Cruz, it's not just, you know, a lot of times the hit and run's the best way to get you to focus on just getting your bat on the ball. I think that's the real key.
And it's a double play ball. Out at second, out at first. And that would be another reason why you start the runner too.
Exactly. The Pirates happy to have Josh Harrison playing third base right now. Pedro Alvarez with 25 errors, and this could have been a bad moment for the Pirates with Alvarez at third base. 25 errors is a ton. I mean, it just is. And he, of course, is hurt today and won't be playing, but he's been playing more first base. But his bat had started to come around. And that's a real break for the Cardinals, that both Harrison and Alvarez not in the lineup today.
And Daniel Descalso getting a start today. He's at second base. Colton Wong is on the bench. And from the left side of the bench, Brzezinski, Taveras, and Wong. Peter Borges on the right side. 2 balls and no strikes, and the 8th place hitter. As we talked about last night, pitchers vary in where they want to start. From the rubber for Jeff Lott, it's squarely in the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike. Big gap in right center. We've noticed how deep they play outfield wise here in Pittsburgh. It may have cost them last night on the base hit by Grichuk.
Ball was up in the air a long time, wasn't it?
Sure was.
A little flare to right center.
And McCutchen was out of the game. He did have Marte at center at that point. As Descalso hits it past Davis into right field. Extends the inning to Adam Wainwright. Rough start for Ike Davis defensively in this game.
Still celebrating that home run last night.
And Descalso will take it. It's ruled a base hit. So the Cardinals with 3 hits so far. A double by Grichuk, single by Jay, erased on a double play. Base hit to right moments ago by Descalso.
Got to get leather on this, and it jumps up, and the reaction just too late.
Chance now for Wainwright. We're talking about averages being down, but yet this is Major League Baseball, and as you said, you got to get leather on that, and it's ruled a base hit. Cardinals will see the Pirates again Monday, Labor Day. It's also the Growth Poster Kids giveaway featuring Matt Carpenter, also Run the Bases Day. Adam is 11 for 55 this year. In the air, out to deep left center field. Harrison going back with room and makes the catch. So the catch is made. Cardinals strand a runner. Scoreless midway through 2. Coffee fountain, frozen drink for just 50 cents the next day. So don't just root for the Cardinals and their wins. Root for 6 runs all season long. Then come celebrate at your nearest on the run. Let's turn to our Toyota keys to the game.
We've talked about it a little bit already as it relates to Adam Wainwright, that he has fastball command. The curveball's usually there, although not as sharp as last time out. But fastball command, a real key for him. And the Cardinals need to get production from the right-handers in their lineup. Against the lefty lock, the Cardinals below 500 against left-handed starters again this year. So they're going to need to have Grichuk, who's already doubled, Holiday and Peralta to do some damage.
Here is Neil Walker, who's hitting .277. The switch hitter with 17 home runs, 56 RBIs. Wainwright struck out 2 in the first. McCutchen popped out to short for a 1-2-3 inning.
like the new way they've cut the grass here in Pittsburgh? I don't recall seeing it like this.
No, I don't either. I noticed it in game one. It is an interesting look. Widens out the cut in the grass as you go towards the outfield.
I know that a week or so ago, to celebrate Clemente's birthday, they put a number 21 in the grass, which was, I think, very fitting. And it's hard not to think Roberto Clemente when you're here in Pittsburgh. You see his statue, you walk across the Clemente Bridge, you just know what he has meant to this franchise. And even beyond that, as Mike Shannon talked about in our pregame, the doors that he opened for Latin American players to be stars and to be not only accepted, but to be stars, to be Hall of Famers. We talk a lot about Jackie Robinson, and we should. But I think Roberto Clemente is kind of in that same conversation.
Headed to Nicaragua, December 31st, 1972, a date that Pirate fans will never forget. And he was there to help out those that had been affected by a major earthquake. He had done so many charitable things. That's on the outside corner. He was there to deliver supplies and food and to help out those that needed it. His plane went down. He died. And 6 months after his death, elected to Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame. Had an exemption for players that passed away. They could be brought into the Hall of Fame 6 months after their death. Neil Walker, his father, who played in the major leagues, was supposed to be on that plane. Neil Walker talks about the great Roberto Clemente and saving his life because Neil was not born yet. And his dad was supposed to be on that plane. And at the last second, Clemente said, "Don't do it. We're okay."
Clemente known, Dan, for his style. He ran the bases hard, ran well. Outstanding defender. You think about the Gold Gloves that he won over his career. 12 of them. Was clearly the best throwing outfielder of his era and maybe any era. They talked about the arm of Clemente being unparalleled. 1966 National League MVP. 11-time All-Star.
The earthquake was on the 23rd, and Martin hit by the pitch. And again, the date, December 31st, 1972. He passed away and left us at way too early of an age.
Curveball that spins and gets away from Wainwright, and Martin doesn't really do much to get out of the way of that.
I'll say this, we're talking about how a catcher can put down the suggestions and then the pitcher either agrees or goes with something else. The loss of Molina has been huge, though, on this team.
Well, I think it's a loss in a lot of ways. It's his presence. Yadi's a big-time player, big-time all-star, a lot of experience. Beyond catching and hitting, he just has a presence. When he's there, you know he's there.
Davis has done it again. Launches one. It's another home run. Davis, his 10th, RBIs 43 and 44.
He's had a hard time catching the ball today, but man, is he swinging it. Another pitch down. Even further than the one he hit last night.
Most of his damage has been coming off the bench, where he's really picked it up for the Pirates, providing a spark. 3 pinch hit home runs. As a matter of fact, they've had 7 this year for the Pirates coming off their bench.
That breaks a string of 16 innings for Wainwright against the Pirates without giving up a run. He'd started poorly against the Pirates in his career. Overall, he's 10-5, which is good. But lately he's been a lot better. The ERA in his career against Pittsburgh over 4.
2-1 on Starling Marte. Ike Davis delivered with a 3-run homer last night in the 8th off of Seth Maness with 2 outs. And he comes through in this ball game with Alvarez out, getting the start at first base with a 2-run shot. The road ERA for Wainwright is just tremendous. 1.74. Breaking ball, and it just missed. Last time, as a matter of fact, a Cardinal had a road ERA of 1.75 was Bob Gibson, 1968. That year, 1.12 ERA overall, but he had 16 road starts. His ERA on the road, 0.81 in 1968.
Incredible. We talked about Wainwright maybe speeding up his delivery a little bit. I think one of the negative sides of that may be your arm dragging a bit on your curveball. We've seen a couple of curveballs that he has been too far out in front of, and his arm's dragged a bit. I think that pitch may be an example of it, but it was a little bit sharper there. And what happens is once your body goes quickly to the plate, Dan, and your arm drags, you cast the curveball, is the terminology the pitchers use. You're not really throwing the ball out in front of you. You don't get that sensation of releasing the ball out in front of your face. It's kind of dragging behind you. It's just a little bit of a difference, but it makes a difference in the outcome.
And a line drive that's caught at short. The more I hear about Bob Gibson, the more I'm amazed at the many accomplishments that he had. As Jordy Mercer will dig in with 2 outs and nobody on. I was at Cardinals Authentics the other day, and they had a ball that Gibson has signed on both sides of the baseball. He signed his name on the sweet spot. Then he put the dates of complete game 7 wins in the World Series that he got in 64 and 67. And he's the only man in the history of baseball to do that. The 1.12 ERA, 251 wins, 255 complete games. And then big game pitcher, none bigger than Bob Gibson. That ball is over at Cardinals Authentics. It's really a neat piece for collectors. Have you gone through the museum over there at Ballpark Village?
I have. It's obviously close to where our post-game set is, and get a chance to see some pretty exciting things there. I mean, it's definitely worth. You could spend a lot of time there. In fact, maybe more than one day.
The great Roberto Clemente, his statue, as we head to a break. Brought to you by Schnucks, your neighborhood hometown grocer for 75 years. By 5 Hour Energy, recognizing those who, despite their own needs, put others first. And right now at Jack in the Box, try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. Many of the fans here today made their way over the Clemente Bridge, formerly named the 6th Street Bridge. A takes you from Pittsburgh's Golden Triangle, which is the central business district across the street in downtown. They close that bridge about an hour and a half before the first pitch, and fans walking back and forth until they open it up about a half hour afterwards.
Really a nice contained experience here downtown if you're going to come to watch a baseball game, and we recommend it for Cardinal fans if you get the opportunity and you like to travel on the road to see a team play. I mean, you could stay downtown here. There's plenty to do. You're very close to the ballpark, and I just think it's a fun atmosphere here. And after the game, especially if you get one of the fireworks days, it's really pretty festive here, and a very different experience now that they're getting 30,000 plus in each game.
Backhanded by Walker, settles and makes the play. Matt Carpenter is retired. The business district across the street, the three bridges that connect both sides, and the picturesque setting that we have here at PNC Park.
Point Park there on the right, close to the water.
John Rooney on the right and Al Raboski on the left. Jim Jackson, the background, the producer and engineer. Who's the gentleman in the middle?
That's Clay. He's handling the stats for John. And you do know that guy on the left, right?
We know pretty well. Also posing as the Terminator.
In fact, rumor has it that Jim Hayes had somebody yelling at him and calling him Al Raboski down on the field. Rumor has it.
Just a rumor.
See if we can get it confirmed.
3-1 to count on Randal Grichuk. 2 for 2 since his return. He taps that foul.
That's what Locke's able to do, throw off-speed pitches, 3-1. You know, hitters love to say to a pitcher like that, hey, challenge somebody. Well, it's challenge enough if you can't hit it.
Long throw here for Josh Harrison. And he just gets Grichuk, who gets down the line very well. Fox Sports Midwest, the Cardinals team up with SLU. It's Billiken night. You can buy your Billiken theme tickets at cardinals.com/theme. Big Cardinal fan here today. Chet Willoughby wants to say hi to family and friends. So happy birthday, he also says, to Bubbles, his good friend back home. In the air out to deep left field. Marte is back. He'll look up. And this one is out of here. That got out in a blink of an eye. Matt Holliday with home run number 13.
We talked about the Cardinals having some right-handed production, and that was pretty productive right there off the bat of Matt Holliday. Goes through the handshakes. The receiving line, 102.5 off the bat of Holliday.
Here's a ground ball hit to the right side off the bat of Adams. Ike Davis will take it. If there was ever an example of a guy being described as a line drive hitter that sometimes walks into some home runs, there it is.
There it is.
One of our photos coming up later in our telecast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Send us your photos using the hashtag STLFanPhoto. 2 home runs in this game, one of them moments ago by Matt Holliday. Jeff Locke leads it off for the Pittsburgh Pirates and takes strike one.
Been so used to Adam Wainwright putting up 5, 6 zeros every night that it's just a surprise when the other team scores early against Wainwright. He's got to find a way to hold it together, and whether or not he's perfect today, whatever adjustments he's made, kind of roll with them and just give your team a chance to win. You're only trailing by 1 now with that Holiday home run, and you have to believe your team's going to get more for you.
2 balls and 1 strike. Locke here, and then Harrison and Snyder. Adam Wainwright came in 3rd in the National League in ERA. Base hit out to left. He trails Johnny Cueto and Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw 1.82. He's also 3rd in opponents' average against. Kershaw at 194. Cueto 191. He's best in the National League. Opponents hitting 220 off of Adam Wainwright.
That 220, 3rd in the league. In the last couple of starts, he's given up hits to the other team's pitcher. That just shows you where his command of his fastball is not quite there.
Harrison is hitting .311 from the leadoff spot. The combination of power and speed from the top spot in this lineup. And since the All-Star break, he leads all of Major League Baseball with 23 extra base hits, 86 total bases. That's everybody in the game. Off the bag, fair ball. Locke, not sure what's happening. He was looking up trying to figure out where that baseball was. Stopped at second base, and the Cardinals catch a break.
One of the benefits of having a pitcher running from the Cardinals' point of view. Went from 1st to 2nd on a double. This ball hits the bag right down the line, goes into the corner, and you would think Locke would have time to go from 1st to 3rd, but he's just unsure at this point. He's trying to pick up Nick Leyva and had second thoughts about it.
Travis Snyder struck out on a curveball first time up. Wainwright struck out the first 2 he saw today. Cardinals trailing 2-1. Pirates have something going here in the bottom of the 3rd. Drops down a bunt and a beauty. May have been better off letting that roll foul if indeed it was going to foul. And the bases are loaded for McCutchen.
Well, looking at it live, I didn't think it was going to go foul. Wainwright had to make a quick decision what he thought about it, and there he is on the drag bunt. He's looking for more than just a sacrifice. Is this going to go foul or not? I don't think so. I think he was going to hug on that grass, and Wainwright just has to eat it at that point.
He's now 2 for his last 21. Snyder. And can Adam Wainwright minimize the damage? Can he pitch out of trouble here? Snyder was grabbing his hamstring as he went down the line.
Still stretching out right now.
Remember, Gregory Polanco was sent down, their outstanding young prospect.
Alvarez is out. McCutchen a little iffy.
Outfield is deep and straight away. McCutchen popped out to short his first time up. We showed you he's got very good numbers against Adam Wainwright. Looked to be the left hamstring for Snyder. Here's the 0-1 pitch. One ball and 1 strike. Knowing he's dealing with a sore side, left side rib injury and a broken rib. Wainwright's point of view, is there something that he can take advantage of here with McCutchen?
Well, it kind of depends on the source of the pain, and it seemed to me that McCutchen was swinging okay and swinging normal, but the finish was what hurt. So he actually hurt it more when he would swing and miss. So just make him do that. That's my suggestion.
I like it. Here's a 1-1. The high fly ball, right center. 2 runners will tag up. 3-1 Pirates. McCutchen picks up the RBI, number 71. Brings in Neil Walker. Double play in order.
Yeah, Wainwright needs one of those desperately right now. Career against Pittsburgh we talked about. At home he's been much better than he has here at PNC Park, but the last 8 starts against the Pirates he's been terrific. So he turned the corner, but today not a good start. 3 runs already here in the bottom of the 3rd.
One out, runners at the corners. And an 0-1 pitch from Wainwright. That's going to be it for Snyder. He's going to leave with that bad hammy. And Jose Tabata will replace Travis Snyder.
You could really see that coming. Once you kind of hurt that, it doesn't get better right away. I mean, it only gets worse. What you do is you kind of slightly tweak it, and then if you have to run again, if he would have to go from 1st to 3rd, something bad could happen there. So you've got to get that taken care of. I think that's a good preemptive move by Frank Hurdle.
So in this series, McCutchen hurt, Alvarez, now Snyder. Pretty big names. Here's a 1-1 pitch with 1 down. Blocked by Cruz.
Changeup from Wainwright, not a pitch that he used an awful lot this season. And that tells you something, doesn't it, Dan, that he's using it here against Neil Walker with a 3-1 game, couple runners aboard. He's kind of searching for maybe a new way of going about his business. If he's throwing changeups in key situations, that's not been his norm. A lot of times you'll throw more changeups because you want to set up your fastball better, which is what he did there. He came in on the fastball, in on the hands of Walker, trying to get a double play, trying to get a jam shot. So the changeup wasn't so much, this is my out pitch here, but I need to set up my fastball better because my command's not quite as good, or perhaps even velocity.
2-2 the count. Velocity has been a tick or 2 down. That's here right. The last month. Pitch number 46. And a check on Tabata. him with the breaking ball, and strikeout number 3 from Adam Wainwright.
Not sure this is a very good breaking ball from Wainwright. Not to be too critical of it, but it just kind of sits out there. It does have good late break, but it's not, let's just say it's not his A+ breaking ball, but it got the result done because of the change of speed and because the location was good away from Walker. It could be a tough out, and so can this guy. 360 in his career against Wainwright.
Season average at 292, 3 hits last night. 2 outs, runners at first and third. We talked about potentially minimizing the damage. Well, you had bases loaded with McCutchen up, nobody out. 1 run is scored. He's got the strikeout of Walker, a fly ball off the bat of McCutchen, and 1 out away from just allowing 1 run.
Martin has shown he can hit the ball to the right side, and Matt Adams holding the runner Tampa to there. He doesn't run a lot, so what he tries to do is get off the bag a little bit so he can get some more range defensively once Wainwright goes home. So he's kind of standing between the bag, and it's just threatening enough that Tampa can't get a big lead. Now, you're not going to be able to pick him off that way. There's no way to get a tag on him. But what you're doing is trying to protect that hole on the right side a little more. He's standing on the base instead of where he's standing. That's a 3 or 4 foot less range possibility for him going to his right.
2 balls and a strike. And Tabata does have good speed at first base. By the way, very good numbers in his career against St. Louis. Now time is called. Check swing, he went.
Good cutter there from Wainwright. That was sharp. Maybe one of the sharper pitches he's thrown today, and he's still searching for the right formula for today. Might be a different formula 5 days from today or late September, but Wainwright needs to figure out what's going to work today, and he's trying hard to do that.
And he got him with the breaking ball. Back-to-back strikeouts of Walker and Martin. 3-1 Pittsburgh. App for live baseball on your smartphone or tablet. You get live look-ins, replay, reviews, scores, stats, radio broadcasts as well. MLB.tv, game of the day, and more. All you have to do is download it at Cardinals.com. Johnny Peralta, John Jay, Tony Cruz. Cardinals trailing by 2 runs. Peralta struck out swinging his first time up. Locke has struck out 2, and he's allowed 4 base hits. One of those a solo home run by Matt Holliday.
It'd be fair to say that Adam Wainwright started out sharp, then wasn't, then maybe got it back again.
Absolutely.
Last couple of hitters, so you know, and players like to say this, and sometimes you kind of get wary of hearing it, but when you hear somebody say he's close, I think in this case you'd say Wainwright is close because he's got it, and then he didn't, and now he does. So you know it's in there somewhere. Timing is such a big part of playing this game, even from the offensive side. I've heard people say, and I haven't heard a physicist say this. In fact, I don't even know any physicists, but they say the difference between popping up to the catcher and hitting a home run to center field is a 16th of an inch on a baseball. You know any physicists, Dan?
You've already lost me.
Well, that's not hard.
No, I don't. And I agree, it's not very hard. Grounded at third as Harrison makes the play. Peralta is 0 for 2. When Jeff Locke was an all-star in first half of last year, what did you see from him, and do you see any correlation to what we're seeing today?
Well, I actually had a chance to talk to Clint Hurdle about him a year ago, and Clint was saying, look, the guy he's got confidence all over him right now, and Clint was very careful about how he said it, but it was kind of like, look, we don't really know how he's doing it, or really can't even explain it. He's just locked in, pardon the pun. He just is throwing everything where he wants to, and not really dominating people, just getting outs, and just, you keep getting some more, and you get some more, and you get some more, and you think this is easy, and you just get on a roll. And so it was almost like he was saying he's kind of outperforming what you would think, is I think the way Clint was referring it. And at one point the league caught up to him, and then he's had to make an adjustment, even spending some time in AAA, as we mentioned this year.
Here's a 1-2.
You're a guy that's not overpowering, Dan. You just can't make mistakes. That's as simple as that. You
At
just
this level,
you don't
sure.
get away with anything.
One and 2 the count. The next by Locke. John Jay singled to left his first time up. Locke was picked up from Atlanta, you may remember, all the way back in 2009. Jay hits a ball that's slicing near the line. They had him played over there. And Starling Marte makes the catch.
Do you see the Ted Lilly? Of course, he has Lilly's number too, but do you see the Lilly out of the windup especially? He's got that little turn just to steady himself. Very simple mechanics.
That deal with Atlanta involved outfielder Nate McLouth. He went from Pittsburgh to Atlanta, and the Pirates picked up, along with Jeff Locke, Charlie Morton and Gorkys Hernandez, who was an outfielder. Charlie Morton, the pitcher,
on the DL currently.
And a strike at the knees to Tony Cruz.
Wondered how active the Pirates might be, Dan, trying to find more starting pitching. They got Vance Worley in a trade. With Morton being hurt and Locke kind of being up and down this year, and Cole being hurt for a while, they've had to do some fill-in work.
Mercer makes the play. Ike Davis, in the span of 6 innings, has made his presence felt.
Yeah, he also started last night. He hits a long home run, and looks like the natural there, Robert Redford, and he does it again today. A long home run, a Hobbesian blast into right center field off of Adam Wainwright.
You know, that was a bomb. It does have the feeling like it may rain. That Hobbs in that first game, remember the rain falling, sliding
I do remember.
Third?
Well, it's coming in, and there is an expectation of some bad weather here in downtown Pittsburgh. And right now we're just dealing with a bad score. Fairly nice weather.
He puts one in the lights, we're in trouble.
Right.
Ike Davis leads it off. Davis, Marte, and Mercer against Adam Wainwright, and the first pitch is taken for a ball. We come to you from PNC Park, located on the north shore of Pittsburgh. Beautiful setting. At the beginning of our game, the sun was shining brightly, and now clouds overhead. Two balls and one strike.
I think that's a pretty good metaphor for the way this game is felt from the Cardinals' point of view. Good start for Adam Wainwright. Bright hopes for Cardinals winning this series. Happy flight back to St. Louis. That could still happen, of course. We're very early, but the Pirates made it tough on Mr. Wainwright.
Whether you like it or not, it seems to be commonplace in the game of baseball. Hitters will stand and admire a home run.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the game today, whether you like it or not. Davis did that last night, a little bit in the first at bat here this afternoon. Part of the game I personally do not like, but it's part of it.
Not a big fan.
But maybe I'm just getting older, Rick.
Not a big fan of agreeing with you either, Dan, but I'm going to have to do it right there. You and I don't always agree. That makes the game fun. But you know what? On this subject, I just think you hit a home run, you run around the bases like Scott Rowland did.
Gives us time and allows you to tell us about our BJC Healthcare difference maker, and that's Adam Wainwright.
The norm,
you'll agree on that.
Yeah, the norm for Adam Wainwright, Dan, after a team loss has been for him to be really good. 70 and 30, good ERA, opponent's batting average low, and Wainwright typically has been what we used to call a stopper. And that was again a term for a starting pitcher who would stop a losing streak, stop bad momentum. Wainwright, the guy, and he, for the most part, has handled that role very, very well in his career.
One ball and one strike on Marte. To his left, makes the catch, and there's one away. Saturday, September 13th, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older take home a replica BP pullover, just like the Cardinals wear during batting practice. September 13th, Cardinals take on the Rockies. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. The Cardinals have 2 series outside the Central Division left. At home against the Rockies, the final 3 games of the regular season in Arizona.
I don't have one of those pullovers. Do you?
I do, for fantasy camp.
Did I get one there?
No.
How did that work out?
You got to know people, even though you are the commissioner of fantasy camp.
Shows my limited power. Well, I'll have to get one at the ballpark. Dan, you commented on Wainwright's velocity maybe being a tick off, and you look at the actual miles per hour, and there's not a big difference. That last pitch at 91, which is pretty classic Wainwright, 91, 92, but you have not seen the explosiveness of that fastball from Adam, and there is a difference. That a very sharp curveball, and that's vintage Wainwright.
He's had a few of those here today, especially early on.
He has. Sharp break, late break.
It's off the mask of Cruz. Jordy Mercer grounded out to third his first time up. It's very warm, humid, muggy to start to play, and now it's cooled off with rain in the forecast, and the sun is behind the clouds. On 1-2 in the air again. Shallow right, Randall Grichuk under it, 2 down. One of our favorite times of the year. Pennant races heating up, and college football. And this week it returns with a full slate of games. Rutgers takes on Washington State. Colorado State battles Colorado. North Dakota State takes on Iowa State. Fresno State looks to upset number 15 USC. That's all on Fox. It begins Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go this weekend. Leadoff walk to Ike Davis, and back-to-back flyouts to right.
Got a nice tweet from a physicist who says he's there for you, Dan, anytime you need him.
Sign him up. Sign me up. Fly him in.
With a tutor.
Oh, definitely. saying is spot on. He has limited the damage with lesser stuff today.
Perfectly said. And that's the job of a starting pitcher. Give your team a chance. It's interesting. Lance Lynn kind of said that about himself yesterday. I thought his stuff was a little bit better than he gave himself credit for. But he said, you know, there are times where you're just not great. You just have to just give your team a chance, stay strong, and compete. And if there's anybody that's going to compete, it's going to be Adam Wainwright.
Here's Daniel Descalso. Pops it foul and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes.
I find that to be such an interesting word. You know, we learned a lot about that word from Tony La Russa over the years, because he really equated competing with kind of an intensity and a pressure-packed kind of reality, but a lot of ways to compete. And I think
swing and base hit.
But I think it begins with caring about it and being professional and realizing that your job is to do the best you can, period. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, there's everything right with that.
It's the first Cardinal hit since the home run by Holiday.
There's the excuse me. I beg your pardon,
but I'll take it. Wainwright with 6 sacrifices this year. The team leader is Shelby Miller with 8. Beautiful bunt. Descalso in scoring position with 1 out.
That was interesting. Ike Davis having such trouble with his glove, he just decided to use his bare hand in fielding that bunt.
Labor Day right around the corner, and the pennant race heating up. Pirates will be in town. That's Monday. It's a 1:15 first pitch. All kids entering with a ticket receive a growth poster courtesy of Missouri Farmers Care. Great seats still remain. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Tickets start as low as $10. $10 tickets for the games against the Pirates, and we hope to see you on Monday. Here is Carpenter. He's had a tough series at the plate. Hitless. What are those conversations like right now, middle of the game, and you're in that bullpen? Just saw the Pirates. I'm sure as a young player you try to get closer to the older players to talk about situations, how they prepare.
One thing you talk about as a group, and a lot of times you'll do it in between innings, but you're talking about a lot of things that aren't having anything to do with the game, frankly, and that's part of it. You can't get too ready too early. You have to kind of be loose enough, but then be able to get into hyper focus mode when all of a sudden somebody calls on you. So you got sunflower seeds, you got towels on your head, you're playing games, you're talking about football, you're doing all kinds of crazy things. But at some point between innings you say, who do you think's first up today? And who's hot in their lineup, and who do you think you'll be ready for, and how far do you think Waino's going to go? You start to prepare each other really for when the phone does ring.
1 ball and 1 strike. You always hear about pitchers carrying a baseball at all times, just feeling the ball in their hands and the grips, working on different pitches.
The late Hub Kittle, longtime Cardinal pitching coach, used to emphasize that all the time. He'd say pitchers ought to have a baseball with them all the time. You got one in your hand, every place you go.
And a bouncer to second. Neil Walker advancing on the play. Descalso from second to third.
Hub used to say you need to go to bed with a baseball. Take it with you. Hold it in your hand while you're sleeping. I thought that was a little extreme. And a little painful if you rolled over on it. Got the small of your back. Not very comfortable.
Or you can wake up next to a catcher's mitt, which is what I have to do.
But that's different.
When my kids wake me up at 5:45.
Kids are saying it's time to go.
Let's go. We got to go play some catch. Get with it, Dad.
All meant, though, to make the point of the baseball is something you just have to have a feel for. I always loved Jim Bouton's quote in Ball 4 about that. He said, I spent my whole career trying to get a grip on a baseball, and I realized at the end that it was the other way around. That baseball had a grip on me. I think that's a great philosophical reality of the life of a baseball player.
The strike to Grichuk. Outfield is straight away and deep. Randall has doubled to right and grounded out to third. Inside.
Get the sense, Dan, that the Cardinals cannot waste many opportunities. Might not get a lot. Somehow, some way, pick up Descalso.
And Grichuk rips it to third. Harrison a diving stop. What a play. Outstanding play by Harrison. And that saves a run. In Pirates history, if not the most famous, 1960 World Series. Forbes Field and Bill Mazeroski. It was a home run to beat the Yankees in Game 7. Think about this, Rick. Bill Mazeroski, you see his resume. The Pirates had 3 MVPs on that team. Dick Rote, Mazeroski, Clemente. The Yankees had 5. Yogi Berra, Bobby Shantz, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Elston Howard. And the Yankees actually outscored them 55-27 in that World Series, but lost.
That's baseball, isn't it?
That's baseball.
And there's a perfect example. Now, Mazeroski had an outstanding career, but he's the perfect example of a guy, and he was more than just a good player, but a player that became defined in an entire city by what he did in October. And again, we have that in front of us over the next 6 to 8 weeks, however long this season goes for the Cardinals and whoever else gets to play in October, and is this opportunity to have a defining career moment.
Josh Harrison, after making a great play down at third to save an extra base hit and a run, singles, and he's 2 for 3 off of Adam Wainwright.
So you may say Harrison's play at third may be as important as Ike Davis's home run. It's the play of the game right now. It saves a run and maybe more. Helps out his pitcher, and then he gets a base hit to lead off the next inning. Here's a look at that play. That is ticketed for the corner. Descalso would have scored easily. Grichuk runs well. He was able to throw him out, and I would say that is right up there with Davis's home run as the play of the game.
Jose Tabata, his first plate appearance in relief of Snyder, dealing with a hamstring issue. 59 career games against the Cardinals, and he's hitting .338. 13 doubles in those 59 games. We notice that Josh Harrison has taken a really big lead. That first pitch, he can run, good speed. One ball and one strike.
I mentioned Tabata when he first came up. Really became the everyday left fielder, sometimes right fielder for the Pirates. He hit .299 his rookie season in 2010, had 405 at-bats, and has not approached that since. In fact, each year he spends some time in the minor leagues, up and down, kind of their fourth outfielder at best.
The 1-1 hit out of play. Harrison is way off the bag at first base once that pitch is delivered. Check swing, he did go. A strikeout for Wainwright, number 5 this afternoon.
That's where you want to pick the right pitch if you're Harrison. He runs on this pitch, stolen base. Nice play by Tony Cruz. He doesn't have to try to dig it because the runner's not going. And Wainwright now with 5 strikeouts against just 1 walk.
Andrew McCutchen with a sac fly back in the third to extend the lead 3-1. Came up with the bases loaded, nobody out. After that, Wainwright back-to-back strikeouts. Matt Carpenter, the third baseman, is right on the line at third. And Colt Wong is near the bag at second base, and they're holding it first, so big lane on the right side of the infield.
You asked earlier about pitching to McCutchen. I like the thought of pitching him away a bit right now with that rib issues, because he seems like he has a slightly truncated swing. I mean, just slightly. He has been airing it out a bit, but he's not really finishing it. He's not reaching out quite the same way, with his ribs bothering him a bit. Even on his sacrifice fly, it was almost about I'd say a 4/5 swing. But 4/5 of Andrew McCutchen is better than pretty much anybody else. Again, Clint Hurdle saying yesterday, strongest guy by far in his mind. He said National League. Strongest hands, strongest wrist, and everything else is just really, really, really good.
So then think about his swing and how he gets away with it, maybe not having total power in the trunk area of his body. He was a track star out of Fort Meade, Florida. Another check on Harrison.
Talked about how good an athlete Adam Wainwright was in high school. Great football player and track star. McCutchen. You talk to all these players, they were outstanding at not just baseball, but they're just pure athletes. You may be interested to know that in high school I was on the math team.
Oh boy.
That's actually true.
Here we go.
No football. No track. But man, give me a differential equation and I could just knock it out of the park.
What's the matter with you?
As I've told you many times, you do not have enough time for the answer to that question.
The math team with Rick Horton. Harrison may be running here. Let's see. He's not on the 2-1 pitch, and it swung on and missed to even it up at 2-2.
I was actually on the second team. I didn't start.
You did not start. It's one of the great Saturday Night Live skits. Jim Belushi is the coach of the chess team.
Yeah, right.
And he's screaming from the sidelines as if a basketball coach would be coaching in a game. Why don't you just give him the pawn? Hand it right over.
That's how you picture me in that skit.
Carry over the 2, Horton. Why don't you just hand it over? Oh, boy. You know the skit I'm talking about, too.
I do. I lived it.
Be ready. 2-2 the count here on McCutchen.
You can hear Jose Oquendo on our mic saying, be ready.
Not running, and the pitch is taken high. They just turned on the lights here at PNC Park. You'd have to say now on 3-2, he'd be off with this pitch. Wherever you may be, hope you're enjoying Cardinals baseball this afternoon. Cardinals trailing by the score of 3-1. Rick Horton, Jim Hayes, Dan McLaughlin with you. Long look by Wainwright. Harrison is running, and the pitch is hit in the air. Center field. What do you think about how Wainwright holds the ball? There's really two things that can accomplish. One is certainly trying to disrupt the timing and pattern towards the plate with a runner, but it also has an effect with the hitter too, as we saw in that last pitch. So here's Neil Walker. Walker is 0 for 2. Came up with 1 out, runners at first and third, back in the third, and struck out. Even without his best stuff so far, Wainwright keeping the Cardinals in this game.
And doing it in little ways, just as you mentioned. Got one of the best hitters on the planet at the plate. Change your speeds on him. Disrupt the running game. Keep him from stealing. Keep McCutchen from having a good rip at a pitch, and then you find yourself maybe getting out of one more inning.
His pitch count is at 81. Tell you what, Adams a couple of times has made on this road trip some very good plays, making sure that runners do not advance. Go back to the Baltimore game and that throw that was errant from Rosenthal and there from Wainwright just moments ago.
Hope we got a defensive run saved for that. Still don't know how arbitrary that particular stat is by the time you figure it out, but he certainly did save a run ultimately, because they would have scored in that inning. He also got a fat lip here in Pittsburgh, hitting up against the railing down the right field line.
It was in game 1. Two balls and no strikes on Neil Walker. And again, you can hear Jose Oquendo. Be ready, be ready.
I'm ready. How about you?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Always positioning his infielders, talking about the situation. Up the middle. Hard hit ball. Harrison stops at second base.
Adam Wainwright, I'm not sure you could be ready for this. You just have to react to a ball right back up the box. It's past you before you know it. Walker, his first hit of the afternoon. And another tough assignment. Wainwright again has to face Russell Martin with a couple runners on base. I thought what Adam did in that third inning, Dan, when there were runners at first and third with just one out, when he struck out Walker and Martin back to back, that was a key part of this game for Wainwright being able to do what you're saying, which is staying in it, battling, giving the team a chance. That was a key moment. Now he's got another one.
Runners at first and second for Russell Martin. Surprised at all that the Pirates, with the speed of Harrison, 2 outs off with contact, did not test John Jay and potentially, now you potentially make the final out at third. But I thought Harrison would be off for sure to third base.
We've talked about it a couple of times in this series. I think that's a throw that doesn't even go to third base, because outfielders are taught, don't let the trail runner get an extra base.
Exactly. Slowly hit up the third base line. No play for Carpenter. Infield hit. Again, the base is loaded here for the Pirates. And Ike Davis will be the hitter, and a visit from Derek Lilliquist, the Cardinals pitching coach.
Been an interesting offensive series for the Pirates. In game 1, they hit about 8 bullets right at people. It didn't get much to show offensively for the line drives they were hitting. But since then, we've seen a number of balls hit just like that off the bat of Russell Martin. Bunt single earlier by Travis Snyder. Things just going their way the last couple of games. Pitch count for Adam Wainwright. Fairly consistent, but he needs to get out of this one quickly.
Davis with a 2-run homer in the second and a walk in the fourth. Already with 2 grand slams this season. One with the Mets, one with the Pirates.
Same month, I think.
In April. One was at Citi Field, one right here. Outfield is deep. They're straight away. Starts him off with a breaking ball.
Both of those grand slams also came against the same team, the Cincinnati Reds, in different uniforms.
1 ball and 1 strike. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Instead, Cruz wants to talk. The base hit potentially scores 2, and that might be your game. So they want to make sure they're on the same page and get this thing right.
And sometimes when the catcher comes out, he's trying to find out what page the pitcher wants to be on, because there are times where you can set up incorrectly. I mean, the pitcher's going to say, I want a slider. Okay, let's say he wants to throw a cutter. Is Wainwright, when he calls for that cutter, does he mean he wants that one down and in that has that nasty little break on left-handed batter, or does he want to go back door? So sometimes it's a matter of making sure the catcher is able to frame and receive the ball in the way that the pitcher intends.
Here's a 1-1. Third ball and a line out. Wainwright out of the jam. Pirates strand the bases loaded. Cardinals have Holiday, who is homered today. Adams and Peralta due up. They trail in this ball game 3-1. Hendricks and Miller will come your way at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. Our Budweiser What's on Tap. The Cardinals and the Cubs. Huge crowds expected. And it's our What's Cooking for the Cardinals, brought to you by Farmland Foods. And a look at the schedule for St. Louis and the upcoming homestand for the Redbirds. See Mike Matheny talking with Adam Wainwright. Those two have been visiting since Wainwright came off the mound. Derek Lilliquist as well. Holiday is homered a solo shot that was back in the third.
One of the things I've wondered about Adam Wainwright, just trying to limit his work, and the innings are certainly piling up for him, and maybe Mike Matheny really just trying to get an indication of, how far does he go with Adam today? How does he really feel? And is this one of those days where you just kind of give him an unscheduled short start? I think with Wainwright a year ago, what he did, and I haven't heard much talk about it this year, he skipped his bullpens a lot last year. I mean, about half the time, to keep his strength as the season wore on. And I haven't heard him doing that this year. Don't know that he's done it quite as much, but that might be something he considers over the next 4 weeks, just limiting that work. Because here's the problem, Dan. When you're off a little bit, what do? You work at it, and you keep working, trying to get it right. You work some more, you work some more, you work some more. Well, that all involves throwing a baseball and adding more fatigue to it. And there are times where you just have to back off. And I think Shelby Miller did that at one point about 3 weeks ago, and it was a positive for him. Maybe that's what's next in line for Adam Wainwright. Not missing a start, but missing some of his side work.
Off-season program was curtailed this year as Holiday hits it sharply, but backhanded again by Walker. How many times have we said that? Backhanded play by Neil Walker.
Not enough to get him on our postgame show.
That's right. He's been banned, according to Ricky Horton.
Well, he does such a great job when he does those shows, but I'm tired of looking at him because he's really had some good games against St. Louis, not just with the bat, but with the glove, and that's a nice play against Holiday. Another bullet off the bat of the Cardinal left fielder.
Here is Adams. One out, nobody on. Adams has walked and also grounded out to first. And he yanks it past the shift and into right. One out base hit for Matt Adams. On base for the second time. Budweiser Bash Fridays featuring prizes and a current or former Cardinals player. And on this Friday, Bernard Gilkey be at the Bud Bash signing autographs. That's beginning at 5:30. First 200 people in line at the Budweiser Bash line next to Gate 5, guaranteed an autograph.
I'm trying to remember what movie Bernard was in. Was it Men in Black 2? I know he was had a little cameo in one of those films, and I think that was it. You can ask him about it when you're getting his autograph at the Bud Bash.
You were in Field of Dreams.
Very important 4 or 5 seconds.
One of my favorite movies of all time. Tied for first among baseball movies for me. That's in the dirt. Adams not going anywhere. It was a Tony La Russa reference. Tied for first.
Right.
Who was the best player you managed, Tony? Pujols, Ricky Henderson, McGuire, but they're all tied for first. How you doing? Ask me after the game.
Like to manage against you. Why did you take that pitcher out in the 6th inning? Like to manage against you.
He always did bring up the point. don't forget, I have more information at my disposal.
Oh, yeah.
Than anybody at home, than you upstairs, the media. And his point was, who knows, somebody at batting practice may have tweaked an issue in a muscle, or a pitcher is dealing with a blister that we don't know. Anything. He's got that info.
We talked about that last night, you and I, with Mike Matheny, and the move he didn't make but could have made late in the game. And he actually addressed that today. Is he had the chance to have Seth Maness stay in the game to pitch to Ike Davis, or bring in Randy Choate to face Jordy Mercer. And there are all kinds of little facts about that. Matchups, how those guys felt that day, how much they've thrown lately, the fact that Maness was already in the game, and what did that mean for there's a lot that goes into his decision. Now he's got to live with his decision, which is Davis took him deep. But you can't just look at the result. You have to look at the options that he had and the information that he had at the time, which again is more than we have.
First strikeout for Locke since back in the first. He has struck out 3 today. So 2 down. FoxSportsMidwest.com at your home for Cardinals coverage all season long. Previews, recaps, videos, features, latest analysis from Stan McNeil. It's all on FoxSportsMidwest.com. Read all about the Fox Sports Midwest girls and where they may be. There's a grounder, and it's taken by Davis. Cardinals have stranded 5. As promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweeted us your photos using the hashtag #STLFanPhoto. Starling Marte leads it off against Wainwright and looks at a strike. Mentioned that we'll see the Chicago Cubs beginning Friday night. Anthony Rizzo, 4th youngest Cubs player to reach 30 home runs in a season. And a ground ball that's hit to short. Peralta, 1 down. The Southsiders, the Chicago White Sox, Jose Abreu, 4th rookie in the last 50 years to have 30 home runs and 30 doubles in a season. Last to do that was Albert Pujols, wearing the Cardinals uniform in 2001. Marte is hitless in 3 plate appearances. Here's Jordy Mercer. Looks at a pitch high. Wainwright, first 3 innings in his last 2 starts. At Philly, And the Cardinals gave him twice 3-run leads. He couldn't hold them. And today, similar issue in terms of early runs. Mercer has grounded out to third and also flied out to right. Outfield is straight away. Congratulations to Adam on his Wayno's World fantasy football league that has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in St. Louis. And by incorporating other players, hope to raise over $2 million this year. Grichuk will give it a look and out of play. Not by much. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Some other news to tell you about was Jonathan Papelbon. First player to have 200 saves with one team in one league. That was Boston in the American League, and 100 or more saves for another team now with Philly. Two away. You know, we were wondering about cutting back Wainwright in particular with what the Cardinals were doing in between innings last time out. I'm sure part of the equation of bringing him back out this inning is 7, 8, 9.
Exactly. Thinking the same thing. Bottom of the order, you think maybe you can get through with a 8 to 10 pitch inning potentially. And, you know, I think they're just trying to gear in on Wainwright a little bit, keep him positive. You know, he's typically a very positive guy in the midst of his competitiveness, but you can kind of see frustration starting to brew a little bit with Adam. And I think, you know, at some point, if you're Mike Matheny and Derek Lilliquist, you remind him, oh, by the way, you're a Cy Young candidate and you're Adam Wainwright, and we're pretty happy with who you are. And yeah, you want to get better, but you know who you are right now is pretty darn good. And honestly, that is an important part of what a coach does for a player, is reminding him how good they are. Anybody's ever competed knows that voice in the back of your head that says, boy, I don't know what I'm doing, or can I get back to that, or why can't I hit the ball straight, why can't I? And Wainwright's fighting some of those demons right now, I think.
Could be his final inning of work. He is due up third for the Cardinals, and a right-hander is throwing right now in the pen. That looks to be Seth Maness. With his second hit, 2 for 3.
Second hit for Locke, pitch up. Wainwright had 2 hits off of Locke the last time they faced each other in September a year ago, and Locke has repaid the favor today.
In the air out to right, and Harrison flies to Randall Grichuk. Wainwright is through 6. Cardinals trailing 3-1. his pops as we reflect on some of the great players that played here in Pittsburgh. Willie Stargell, and he could hit him a long way. Captain of that 1979 We Are Family championship team. The love, always smiling, happy. Great ambassador for the city, the organization, the game of baseball. Willie Stargell, 475 career home runs. The number that Stan McMahon hit, 475. And he's a guy that you knew a little bit.
I did. I had a lot of great conversations with him. He coached with the Atlanta Braves for a while, and he was very, very friendly guy. And I think the Pops kind of term for him is so fitting because he was really a leader in a lot of ways of that team, and you know, the co-MVP of that season. But you know, it was not just because he could smoke a baseball, but it was his leadership on the field. Wasn't necessarily known for his stealing bases, and he found out you're not allowed to call timeout in the middle of a stolen base, which is a little known rule. Really a delightful guy, though.
Trying to bunt his way on, Tony Cruz. Pitch up in his eyes. Cruz here today, 7th place hitter, is grounded into a 5-4-3 double play. Also grounded out to short. Descalso on deck, who's 2 for 2, and then Wainwright's spot.
Is it possible he was just kind of faking a bunt for effect, but then didn't get the bat out in time?
Seemed that way.
It seemed more like that than a guy that was actually trying to get a hit bunting.
A fly ball lifted into shallow right center. Andrew McCutchen wants it, has it, 1 away. Well, Jeff Locke carrying over those numbers that he came into play with, which was in his last 2 starts, 11 2/3, just 2 runs. Daniel is 2 for 2. Peter Borges has moved to the on-deck circle. This could be a very quick inning here for Jeff Locke. Just joining us, let's get you caught up to date with the Subway in-game box score. The Cardinals have a solo home run. That was by Matt Holliday back in the 3rd to account for the scoring for St. Louis. The Subway in-game box score.
Wainwright hoping for victory number 16 here this afternoon, and if that's going to happen, you're going to have to get some 2-out magic here with the offense. The Cardinals offense just not much to show for it today, just 6 hits.
Borges bounces it to short. Time to stretch. Locke, a very quick inning. Way to do it. Well, Phillip had Phillips 66, 8 gallons or more now until September 19th. Receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. So Wainwright is through, and the Cardinals turn things over to Carlos Martinez. St. Louis trailing 3-1.
Always fun to watch Carlos Martinez pitch. Don't always know what you're going to get with him, but you're going to get high velocity. You're going to get a little flair. You're going to get high potential. Key for him is to not make mistakes. And he'll be an important part of this team next 5 weeks.
Michael Wacha will throw a BP session this afternoon. You don't know about Masterson and his immediate future outside of the start this weekend. Is Martinez in those plans potentially to maybe make a start?
Well, you also have Tyler Lyons in the bullpen, and with 4 lefties out there now, and Nick Greenwood being one of them as well, he's shown well a couple of different times and certainly can pitch longer. In my mind, I still like Carlos Martinez as a reliever. I think he can bring something day after day and bring the ability to get a strikeout late in the game when you're playing a game where you need that strikeout. I just think he's got an upside there in the Cardinals bullpen right now. I'm not saying he can't start, but I guess if you need an extra start from somebody, I think Tyler Lyons is the best option, in my opinion.
Adam Wainwright threw 103 pitches today. 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 hits, 1 walk, and he struck out 5. One of those hits was a home run, a 2-run shot by Ike Davis. They measured that, nearly made it to the Allegheny. 447 feet. Whew. Longest home run allowed by Wainwright since 2010. Johnny Gomes hit a home run 451 feet. McCutchen with an RBI today, 0 for 2. And a base hit out to left. Neil Walker is 1 for 3 with a single to center field.
Not a big stride from McCutchen. One of the things that young players make the mistake of doing quite a bit. In fact, it's probably one of the most common errors is overstriding. You know, I think it was almost an old school thing that you had to take this big step forward with your front foot and stride into the ball. All that does is kind of lock your hands from being able to get out in front and make good contact. And you're almost jamming yourself when you do that. I mean, you are jamming yourself. So you really need to have your weight back, and a short step's better. And you know, think of the swing of Jim Edmonds or Albert Pujols. Very little movement with their lower half to allow their hands to get through inside the ball. You get your body out in front of your hands, you're in trouble.
And you're talking about players that are extremely strong too. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Walker.
Can you just picture parents yelling at Little League fields across the country in unison? Step into it.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt.
Stop saying that. All together. Let's stop saying it.
And you said before how McCutchen has strong hands, strong upper body. Just part of that. Creates that bat speed. Here's a 2-0. I wonder how limited McCutchen is in running.
Good question.
3-0 the count here.
I think he would be hesitant to run. And I think Clint Hurdle would be even more hesitant to let him run. I bet he has the stop signal on.
Three balls and 1 strike.
And the for fans that don't know, they may be surprised that there's a green light that runners get, which means run when you can or want to or feel like you've got the right jump. There's a must-go sign that you have to steal that the manager can give, and then there's a stop sign, meaning you can't steal.
Fly ball out to center. Deep. Jay makes the catch. Back to the bag at first goes McCutchen. We've seen many times when McCutchen is right, he tag up from first base on that long fly ball to center.
He actually did tag up, it just didn't go. And I think another indication of what his limitations are right now. Rick Sofield's the first base coach. We talk a lot about Nick Leyva, the third base coach, ex-Cardinal coach for many years, manager in the big leagues, Toronto, Philadelphia, but I'm sure Sofield at first base was making sure he didn't go.
Pitch taken high by Russell Martin. Hit by a pitch. Scored in the second. Struck out and has an infield hit. Cardinals have the top of the lineup looking ahead to the top of the 8th. Fly ball into right. Blitchen cuts it off. McCutchen flying into third base.
Guess it's a good thing he didn't tag up and go to second base. This would be a run. Talk about how well Martin goes the other way. He does it again. I wish I ran like that when I was sore.
Wow. Ike Davis, a 2-run homer back in the second, walked in the 4th, and with the bases loaded in the 5th, he lined out to second base. Cardinals have been out hit in this game 10-6. They trail 3-1. Pittsburgh is stranded 7. Martinez is trying to make it 9. This time last year is when we saw the big three really emerge. Kevin Segras, Carlos Martinez, Trevor Rosenthal. And it is amazing every year how a bullpen develops, really month by month. Ike Davis, second inning, Nissan drive of the game. Think you knew it?
He should have. So there's time for the bullpen to emerge. As you mentioned, Trevor Rosenthal had maybe one career save going into postseason last year. Turned it on at the end, became the guy. Opportunities are out there. I find it interesting watching Carlos Martinez. The way I see Carlos Martinez, he's a pitcher that's not 100% sure who he is yet. He's trying to maintain some control and command and some calmness, but yet he's born to be a flamboyant, here it is, hit it kind of guy. And he's trying to find out which one he is and how can he have the command while he still maintains his style.
Delayed steal by Russell Martin. You don't see that all the time.
It's a delay because he hasn't gone yet. He waits till the ball's already at home. And what you see with that typically is when the infielders aren't paying attention to cover. And I'm not sure they would have thrown anyway with McCutchen, the runner, at third base. So it would have been one of those, we're going to let him take the bag anyway. But the delayed steal worked to perfection by Martin.
And as you said, the idea is you catch the infielders, the catcher, napping. Take your secondary lead, 1-1000, 2-1000, go. 2-2, a fly ball to left. The Pirates will strand 2, a scoreless inning by Martinez. Top of the lineup coming up as we move to the 8th. Midwest. Let's go to our studio at Ballpark Village and a Bomberito Sports Update with Pat Paris. Can't be soon enough. Looking forward to seeing those two back in the big leagues. It sounds like sooner than later. And the Cardinals figure out Jeff Locke. He's pitching into the 8th. He's given up 6 hits. Carpenter is 0 for 3.
I would guess Yachty sooner, Waka later. He still has to build up. A little like spring training. Hitters on day 3 of spring training, they say, I'm ready. Let's go. Pitchers need time to build up their arm strength.
Jorge Soler will make his Cubs debut, as well as Jacob Turner. Jacob Turner really flew under the radar. He was projected to be in the top 5, the rotation for Miami, and then a trade with Chicago. Soler, one of those highly thought of prospects that'll make his debut tonight. A 2-1 pitch to Carpenter.
Carpenter trying to work the deep count, hoping for a ball there, and could have been 3-1.
Jeff Locke from New Hampshire, only active pitcher in baseball from the Granite State.
Chris Carpenter, Bob Tewksbury, New Hampshireites. Is that the right word?
That's right.
New
Well, I don't know if that's right, but
New Hampshireans.
I just say guys from New Hampshire. He has 16 wins. That's 11th all time. Pitchers from New Hampshire.
It's got to be New Hampshireites.
Leadoff walk, and the tying run will come to the plate. The Mazda game summary. Jeff Locke pitching extremely well. That'll get the bullpen active, though. Wainwright 6 innings. Holiday a solo home run that was back in the 3rd. And Ike Davis his 2-run shot. Mazda game summary. Here's Randall Grichuk. Tony Watson getting loose in the pen, the lefty. Mike Flanagan had the most wins of anybody from New Hampshire at 167. Chris Carpenter 144.
I believe Mike LaValliere, former Pittsburgh Pirate catcher and St. Louis Cardinal catcher, outstanding defensive player,
former Pirate
and New Hampshireite.
Grichuk with a fly ball. Will this drop? No. McCutchen is there. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. You will hear quite the ovation for Jeff Locke in just a moment. .75 ERA. And that duo, the lefties, the full body of work over the last few seasons, very good. Look at his pitch total last 7. So he gets Matt Holliday, who represents the tying run.
It's a life of a reliever, isn't it? All those days off and then 36 pitches last night and back at it today. But that's the kind of confidence that Clint Hurdle has in Tony Watson to bring him in as a lefty to face the right-handed hitting Matt Holliday.
Runner at first. It was a leadoff walk by Carpenter. 1 out. And a strike to Holliday.
But it also may say something about how he doesn't have the right-handed equivalent that he's as comfortable with.
Absolutely.
To bring in first and then bring in Watson to face Adams and the rest of the order.
Two strikes on Holliday. Hit a line drive homer. This was back in the 3rd. Number 13, RBI number 68.
Looked like Matt wanted to let that hit him, and then he remembered it was coming in at 95.
Takes some guts, huh?
Which he's got plenty of.
Defensively, Harrison is maybe one step off the line at third, holding the runner at first. No doubles defense. It's as deep as we've seen them play the entire series.
Marte and left extraordinarily deep.
2-2 the count.
Holiday can't pull the trigger. Watson paints that outside corner after working inside the Holiday. Paints him away.
The Pirates get 7 1/3 from Locke. And now Adams. Slowly hit to the right side. Walker had to come in. He was playing on the outfield grass. Good work by Tony Watson. Is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever happens, and by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Today's attendance 29,905, 29905. Second inning of work for Carlos Martinez. Starling Marte at the plate. Martinez stranded 2 runners. Back in the bottom of the 7th in relief of Adam Wainwright. That fastball at 98. Quickly, no balls and rather 1 ball and 2 strikes.
A little breaking ball there, just a little wrinkle to it. Not the big curveball, but enough to freeze Marte.
Booted by Carpenter. 13th error on Matt Carpenter.
Almost saw that one coming. You could see Matt wasn't sure which hop to get. whether to wait back or to try to come in and get it. And he ends up getting the short hop because he knows Marte runs well. He's either going to stay back on this next hop or charge it a little bit, and just kind of got caught in between and clanked it.
Milwaukee will be at San Diego later tonight. Giovanni Gallardo, they'll face Despaigne of the Padres as time is called. And again, Milwaukee with a 1.5 game lead in front of St. Louis. Let's see how aggressive they want to be here.
Marte was playing every day as a younger Pirate. In 2010, he stole 19 bases his first year, 16 his second.
Martinez to second. They'll get the lead man. Jordy Mercer trying to sacrifice and move the runner to second base. Bunted too hard, and that's a former shortstop and a guy that can really field his position in Carlos Martinez.
Yeah, and he wants to make the good play, and he wants to make the big play, and he does right there. Keeping Marte off of second base. Almost a collision there between Marte and Daniel Descalso, and now he's kind of expressing that a little bit. Descalso had to be careful about that, otherwise that could have been obstruction.
Here's Gabby Sanchez. Welcome to the game. 97 with Sink. That'll be it for Tony Watson, who goes 2/3 of an inning in relief of their starter Locke. Melanson is their closer. Here's an 0-1. There's a broken bat, a foul ball. Brewers, after their game tonight with San Diego, go to San Francisco. Pirates will welcome Cincinnati to town. The Cardinals return home to face the Chicago Cubs. Two and two the count. Two hit out of play. Be nice to get back home. Chicago for 4, then 3 with Pittsburgh.
Cardinals have Pierzynski, Taveras, and Wong on their bench from the left side. All capable of hitting one out. The runner gets on base before them.
Double play ball, a tag. Oh, what a play by Descalso. Tags the runner and flips it to first, and an outstanding double play by Daniel Descalso.
This looked like a football play, didn't it?
to end the bottom of the 8th, and now we head to the 9th.
Play is difficult on a lot of fronts. He knows if he can tag the runner, he kind of shortens the throw here. All he's got to do is tag and then flip, but he has to do it off balance and somewhat underhand just to complete this double play. The other option would be to throw to first. Then you get the runner in a rundown. But he sees opportunity here. Mercer trying to avoid the tag. Goes down. There's the tag. The body block. The off-balance flip.
Paul also had some English on it on the ground ball.
Sure did.
It's a very good play by Descalso. And now it's Mark Melancon, their closer. Interesting that lefties have not been as good. The righties have been against Melancon. A Chevy called to the pen. The first pitch, a base hit. There's Peralta. And once again, the tying run is aboard. And will come up. John Jay will be the hitter. This game is far from over.
I agree 100%.
Jay with a single to left back in the second inning.
And who will hit next?
Jay has been so good going the other way as Brzezinski has moved to the on-deck circle. And you've got Harrison even with the bag, but basically right on it at third. Interesting to see that Brzezinski is the man that walks to the on-deck circle.
John Jay is able to reach. You also have the issue of, do you bunt both runners into scoring position? And who do you do that with?
Right.
Last thing in the world you want is a double play at that point.
Cardinals have already used Peter Borges. They're down to Brzezinski, Taveras, and Wong.
So if Jay were to reach, is it a more natural choice to maybe go with Colton Long there? A little more speed than Brzezinski.
A liner and caught. Jeff Locke is our Budweiser player of the game. 7 1/3, 6 hits. Gave up an earned run. That was the holiday homer. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. It's interesting on a couple of fronts. You've got Taveras on the bench. The minor leagues, good home run power. You use Brzezinski here. So if you went to extra innings, no backup catcher. AJ lost the bat into the seats.
But even if you went to Taveras, you've got to bring Brzezinski in the game anyway, so you're going on a 2-for-1 there by getting the pinch hitter and the replacement all in one in Brzezinski. And he has some home run pop. Does work a little bit better when he holds on to the bat, however. Not mad at his manager, is he?
AJ is 1 for 3 against this right-hander.
Taveras, by the way, 4 for 9 as a pinch hitter. Brzezinski's been a good pinch hitter this season as well. First in the American League and now with St. Louis. Big gap on that left side of the infield.
1-1.
You're at that point of the game where you're thinking home run, but you don't really need it. You'd like it, but he just has to keep things moving. Get on base somehow.
A fly ball to left, sinking liner that's caught. Final hope is Descalso.
Tavares would hit next.
Two hits for Daniel today. Strike one.
Who said you can't have an excited, energized baseball crowd in Pittsburgh? For years.
Especially this time of year.
People thought it, but it's not that way right now.
Descalso trying to extend the ball game. Runner goes in the air, and they should do it. Left field, and the Pirates for that catch. They take 2 of 3.
Wainwright was okay today. Jeff Locke was better. And so were the Pirates. As they take the series, the Cardinals drop both series on the road. First Philadelphia, and here in Pittsburgh. Be nice to go home and get back on track again.
Missouri Lottery Cardinals live. It'll come your way next. Melanson is 24th save.